In this video, I'd like to address the difference between true positive thinking and positive thinking that doesn't work, okay? I've been teaching now for 4 years, maybe 5 years, no, maybe 4 or 5 years. And I hear so many people saying that I know I should be thinking positive, but this challenge is going on in my life, and I know I should be thinking positive, but it just doesn't work for me. Or I know I shouldn't be thinking like this. You know, I should be thinking positive. I try positive thinking, but it only lasts for a while, and then I feel terrible again, and this, that, and the other. I hear this all the time, and I always say to people, it's like they feel like when they share what they're really going through, they feel like I'm going to judge them or say they're doing the wrong thing because they're not thinking positive. And I'm not a part of that. I always say, why do you feel you have to think positive? Because what I've found with the positive thinking movement, and Osho addressed this years ago in the 70s, he said it's the most ridiculous movement on the planet. Positive thinking there's two types, so don't be confused with what my message is here. There is a positive thinking where you are a thinker in the head. And if you can imagine, most people's problems or suffering comes from identifying with the mind, identifying that you are the mind. So whatever the mind's thinking, you identify and attach to that as if they're your thoughts. And then if they're bad thoughts, you think they're your thoughts. Now, you wouldn't be thinking them if there wasn't a spiritual reason for it. So we can always, my teacher says, ask for forgiveness. I'm sorry for this thought. No guilt though. I'm sorry for this thought. And then give love to the thought. Okay? But no attachment to the thought. You with me? There's a lot going on in the collective consciousness now, and we are basically antennas. So whatever we're picking up, however sensitive we are, and also however we're vibrating on, the frequency we're giving off, we're harmonizing with whatever's in the field. So if there's anxious thoughts going out from us on that frequency, we're going to harmonize with other people's anxious thoughts or negative thoughts, and they're going to come into our field. So once you understand it, okay, you can understand that there's no point in it, but there's a process to it. You can't just switch it off if it's a pattern that's ingrained into you and you've been doing it for years. But my point is, if you pretend that the challenges are not in your life and they're not bothering you, and you just try and positive think your way out of it. I'm not saying this doesn't work for some people, but everybody I've ever met who does this, it's never permanent. It's a temporary fix, okay? Because you're fundamentally trying to ignore or lie to yourself about what's happening. Just let's say you've got cancer or you're sick, and you're walking around saying, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, and I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm healthy. It's, to me, if you are not feeling that, if your body doesn't feel that, it's just a program. It's just automatic. I'm healthy, I'm healthy. You don't believe it, okay? You don't believe it. This is the power of belief. When you believe it, the spirit, not the mind, the spirit will observe that potential in the field that already exists, the timeline where you are healthy, and you create that because it exists. So positive thinking, for me, there's two. One is just a mind thing, trying to force to be positive. It doesn't work. I don't think it works anyway. But then there's true positive thinking. And true positive thinking arises from wisdom and compassion. What do I mean? Whether you're trying to forgive somebody, okay, there shouldn't be any effort. There shouldn't be a process of trying. I'm going to try my hardest to forgive this person. It's not going to happen. The effort is a resistance in itself. So this is why what the Buddha taught was so profound, because he said with wisdom, with the teachings of compassion, we don't force anything. We just look deeply. Okay? We just look deeply into the suffering. I share this in all my videos. Okay? I'm like a broken record. I'm like a parrot repeating myself. But I hope that we get it. We just observe the suffering of whoever we can't forgive and go deep, meditate, live their life, live the suffering that they've experienced, understand it deeply. And when the understanding is there, we naturally forgive. There's no effort because we see clearly. It's not a case of you feeling the trauma, you cannot relate to that person in the slightest, but in the mind you've just got a hamster on the wheel. I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you. You're going nowhere. You with me? So the same with positive thinking. We have to understand that when there is understanding, okay, for example, the challenges and the things that are going on in the world, when we look deeply, and I share this in all my videos, instead of focusing on just what's happening and then reacting to that, we always take a step back. That's what meditation is. Meditation is creating a space from what's going on, the drama that's going on. It's taking a step back, breathing, creating a space and observing the bigger picture. Okay, I can see the bigger picture. Detached from it. No emotional response. You can't get pulled this way, that way. You're not trying to defend anything. You're just observing. Because what happens then is, when we see the bigger picture, we say, okay, all the things that are going on that seem to be detrimental to the human species, all it's doing is waking people up. When I say that, I just mean it's becoming more obvious. People who never thought that this was possible are now looking at it and going, the only people who are clinging on are people with the big egos. The bigger the ego, the more investment they've put into something, the more they gain to, or the ego gains to lose. Okay? So the ego's clinging on. And this can be the same for people who are aware of it. This is why I always say, try and drop defending anything. And don't resist to anything. Just watch and just do your bit. Just plant seeds. Be kind, caring and compassionate. Be there in service. Because what happens is, eventually, a lot of people who resisted this situation in the beginning, I had good friends who attacked me in the social media. Good friends of mine. Had to go at me. That's okay. Not defending myself. It's okay. Even them now. My old work colleagues, I listen to them talk. They're not jumping completely on the bandwagon, but they're definitely smelling that something's up. Okay, there's always a bigger picture. The yin yang arise together. The harder they push their agenda, the more people see the agenda. The more people see the agenda, the more we can actually live in gratitude. Because what is this fallen few percent that we call the cabal? What are they teaching us? In Buddhism, I think it's Buddhism, they say the teacher and the taught make the teaching. Okay? So if you look, my Buddhist teacher says, whatever you say about somebody, you take that on. Just think about that. If you see someone's qualities, you take on their qualities. If you see someone's downfalls, you take on their downfalls. Very important. Great wisdom. So what am I sharing this for? The teacher and the taught make the teaching. We can use these fallen few as our greatest teachers, because we can see those that offer such beautiful contribution And we can also see those that are offering some of the worst services to sentient beings. And we can say, we can see what doesn't work and we can see what does. Therefore, these people who are creating huge suffering are actually our best teachers in a way. Okay? We have to stop pointing the finger and being aggressive. We have to be, thank you, because you have shown us without a doubt what doesn't work. And we're grateful for that. We're compassionate, we're grateful. And those that have offered huge contribution, we can say, and you've also shown us what does work. You've shown us spiritual strength. This is the importance of spiritual beings. This is why we have to do what is right. Right is right, even if no one's doing it. Wrong is wrong, even if everyone's doing it. Okay? It's time to do the right thing. And the positive thinking movement is one side. The first one that I think doesn't work is to bury your head in the sand and believe that everything's okay. And everything is okay if you have the wisdom and you see the bigger picture. But if you don't feel everything's okay and your life is in turmoil and you don't know how to handle it, you don't have the tools to fix it, then just trying to think positive is like cleaning your house but putting all your rubbish under the carpet. You know, it's you've got to address it sooner or later, and that becomes a burden. And the more rubbish you put under there, the bigger it gets, and the more you're trying to positive think. But this anxiety is just building, and you're going to blow. So I'm not a fan of positive thinking in one sense, of pretending things aren't happening. This doesn't mean you go looking for drama. This doesn't mean you go and try and find the worst thing that's going on in the world. Just deal with what is presented to you, because that's what life is giving you. That's your spiritual journey, okay? You might not know anything that goes on in the world. That's okay. You deal with what's in front of you if it's a family. But you have family issues, rather than just, I'm being positive. I'm just going to pretend that all that's not happening. Go within and observe it. Create a space, observe what you're feeling. And just like I said, find out what, with interdependence, anything that exists depends on everything else. There's a foundation for it. So if there's a drama in the family relationships, or you're having trouble with somebody, look deeply into why, the foundation, the roots. You'll find it could be spiritual, it will be spiritual. The root cause, move into forgiveness, compassion, understanding, and love. Look within yourself. I have an anxiety. Create a space, a gap between the thinking mind and your true essence. Observe it, and then observe what its foundation is. Observe where that anxiety comes from. You might go back to your childhood, okay? If it's before this life, meditate and ask to be shown what it is, and heal from the inside out. So positive thinking, in my understanding, is to have the wisdom to be able to see and always view the bigger picture, because that type of understanding allows you to see that everything is a blessing. Everything is perfectly in divine timing, and in this, it's perfect. The Zen tradition says every snowflake falls perfectly in its place. Everything's happening perfectly. And when we see that, we are not on the side of the goodies against the baddies. We are not on the battlefield, light against dark. We are conscious. It's a spiritual maturity, okay? We can just observe it and realize that there is a beautiful, divine play happening. And we are a part of a global collective awakening. And we are going to move collectively away from fear into love and coherence. And we are going to stop these terrible barbaric practices that create so much suffering in the world. And you are here to be a part of that. That is genuine positive thinking. There's no effort required. It comes from a conscious observation from wisdom and from the heart, which is not, the mind's a dualistic organ, right, wrong, good, bad, creative, analytical. The heart isn't. The heart is a oneness organ, okay? Positive. The other positive thinking that doesn't work is everything's okay in the world and I'm going great, nothing's going on in my life, la 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 la. When deep down you can't even breathe because you're suffering so much. So I hope this has saved you in some way or another, okay? We are alive at a historical time. I say it in every one of my videos, and I am so grateful that I can serve at this time alongside everybody in my life. I love you all so much. Be empowered. Keep smiling. Keep observing the bigger picture. This is a good thing. Everything that's happening is fertile ground for conscious evolution. And everything we experience in our life is for us to evolve consciously. I love you all. Have a beautiful day. Take care. Bye.